Next up, we have a conversation with Tim Draper. Who's ever heard of Tim Draper? Anyone? 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 I think only the most famous venture capitalist probably in the world. So I got the very distinct pleasure of hanging out with Tim yesterday. That was really so much fun, and I'm going to have to tell you a little more about it when we get up here. But Tim Draper is the founder of Draper Associates with $2 billion in assets under management and early investments in Tesla, SpaceX, so we were just talking about space, Coinbase, Skype, Robinhood, Baidu, amongst many other dozens of unicorns and more. He's a third-generation VC, a Stanford and Harvard Business School grad, and the founder of Draper University. And he's also the host of Meet the Drapers, which I had the fortune of being on the show yesterday. It was quite the experience. Please welcome Tim Draper. I wanted those chairs, and I just gotta find my notes amongst this pile of things. Okay, here we go.
Chanel was amazing on the show. If you missed it, she was amazing. Just had the right touch.
Thank you. I had to hold my own with some giants, both figuratively and literally. I don't know if you've ever seen.
She said giants. I was thinking, $1 million a kilogram. I'm gonna have to lose weight to get up there.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever seen Mark Benioff. I hadn't in real life. He is very tall. Tim's tall, and Mark's even taller.
Yes.
I had to stand on my tippy toes to give him a lay. I was like, oh my goodness, these are some big people in all the ways. But it was a lot of fun. And I just have to tell you one quick story about Tim before we get started, which is, so yesterday was the summit. We were on a Ko'olau, and we did a hike, right, Tim?
We did. Actually, my tie is still wet.
Oh my gosh.
From my shorts being on top of my tie.
I tried to tell you, this is gonna be muddy, this is gonna be serious, and Tim was game for it all. He was like, yeah, let's go. So we get up to this waterfall, and Tim immediately gets in his swim trunks and jumps in. I'm like, oh my god, okay, let's go. And then he's like, no, that's not good enough for me. I gotta get to the second level of this waterfall. And he's scaling the cliff, you know how our waterfalls are, guys, like it's slippery, it's wet, it's all the things. I'm picturing him just falling to, his demise right in front of me, right before the taping of the show even happens. I'm like, Tim, get down, right? And then what happened? You jumped in the pool, and what did you say?
I said, anybody want to come up and pitch me? And not only did you come up, which was really awesome.
I did jump in
and
there.
Join me, but we had an entrepreneur. Are you out here in the audience?
I did just see him, down in the corner. Yeah, down, let's go.
Make sure you get in touch with me, tim@draper.vc. Really nice pitch in the waterfall. And the water is coming down in sheets over my face, and we're both shouting at each other, and actually there's a video. Be careful.
There's a video. We have evidence. We have the evidence. So yeah, that was definitely high. I said, okay, Tim and I can hang. We can hang. If he's willing to scale waterfalls, he's honorary Hawaiian over here. I think we can adopt you.
Ooh, thank you.
Yes, I think it's fair game. All right, 2 of my questions. Unvetted questions. Again, Tim is so cool and awesome that when I sent the questions to your team, they were like, oh, ask him anything. I was like, anything? And they're like, anything. He's an open book. I'm like, sweet. Okay, but we're not going to go too crazy.
Do that.
We're not going to go too crazy.
No, do that. I want that.
No.
I get a lot of ChatGPT questions.
Okay. Oh, no.
Is that how you got your question?
Never mind. Okay, I'll put those down. Okay, well, let's start with the not ChatGPT questions then. What would prevent you from moving to Hawaii?
Well, that's a good one. It's certainly not my wife. My wife really wants to move here. And we have a house in Hawaii on the Big Island. We really love it. But I get, if I've been in Hawaii too long, I sort of feel spoiled. And I feel like I've got to get back to work and focus. But now I feel like this is kind of a nice blending because I've got all of you work people. And I feel like I can get to work here. And then looking at the oceans thing, my son, Adam Draper, has been at Boost Ventures, has been obsessed with oceans. So I took a couple of pictures of that. One thing, I also saw oceans and energy, and I was thinking, there's a lot of energy with those waves that just keep coming in, and nobody's really nailed that. So any good engineers out there, nail that. I want to see how that happens, because that's it regenerates. It's like wind energy or whatever, but it just keeps coming. But the tides move in and out. There are a lot of things you got to think about.
There's a lot of things. I mean, one of the big things for Hawaii, right, is that we are an island chain. That is a thing. So we can create energy on some islands, but getting them to the other islands is a challenge. One of many.
Oh, interesting. Well, they all get waves, right?
Yeah.
So you could just
have little wave engines on every island. Who's listening? Let's go. Wave engines on every island. I like it. I mean, there's so many possibilities.
That hasn't happened. Maybe there's some, I don't know.
Yeah, economics, I think. And entrenched interests, perhaps, with the, not going to name names,
let's
energy
get rid
company.
of those guys.
Yes. So, I'm not looking at my questions since you asked me. You asked me not to. No, but you do a lot of traveling. So
only if they came from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They did.
Oh, probably, with some additions. Probably. Yes, you do a lot of traveling. You see a lot of entrepreneurs. What are some of the things that you see outside of Silicon Valley that make you excited? Like, what is interesting? Do people have a different perspective, or do you think they're just not as competitive? Like, what's the kind of differentiation there between the Silicon Valley and outside of Silicon Valley?
Well, Silicon Valley at this point has the bulk of venture capital, and so they attract entrepreneurs from all over the world, and that is a real sustainable advantage. Now, of course, California's governance has made it so they're pushing businesses out. And so other states and countries have a big opportunity. And so that's really kind of a benefit. But every time I travel to a new place, I get a new vibe from the entrepreneurs. I get a sense for, if you go to Alaska, it's like low Earth orbit and salmon skin wallets and things that keep people warm. Those technologies come from Alaska. You come to Hawaii, and you guys maybe don't appreciate it, but I live, in California. We look up at the sky, and maybe we see 3 stars in a night. And you look up at the sky and you see all of those stars. And so the idea of multiplanetary exploration for you is very real. For us, it's like, I guess. I think I saw 3 of them up there, but for you, it's like, oh yeah, there's Venus. Let's go to Venus. That'll be kind of cool.
Yeah, especially if you're on the Big Island.
So where you live or where you come from as an entrepreneur has a lot to do with the way you think and what you're looking at accomplishing, how you're going to drive some new business. And obviously, you're called Blue Ventures. It's the ocean that's blue, right? You see the ocean.
There's a giant ass wave behind me. So
and you were, until recently, you didn't have much Wi-Fi, so you had to be kind of innovative in that way in communicating with the rest of the world. Now you've got Starlink, which is really
good thing we invented that.
Yeah, we did. Or somebody did.
We did. So tell me about your vibe. So
wherever I go, in Mongolia, they're really good at
horses.
Yeah. figuring out riding horses and bones. They have, dinosaur bones and
We
stuff.
actually had a team from Mongolia that came out here and went through Blue Stardust. Can you believe that?
I can.
Yeah.
Actually, it's starting to be a booming country.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Okay, so talking about the vibe you're getting from different places, you saw 4 pitches from Hawaii yesterday. What vibe did those guys give you?
I was impressed. I thought they were all really good. And it was a tough call for the crystal ball as to which of these 4
For those of you who don't
entrepreneurs-
watch the show, he uses a crystal ball to actually make the final decision. Yes, it's true.
I'm a medium, and I can read the spirits, and the spirits send me vibes, and those vibes help a certain entrepreneur move on to the semifinals. But I was really impressed, and it was a tough call for the crystal ball. I saw conflict in the medium work, but we had all sorts. We had space manufacturing support. We had a great consumer support product. We had a military communication system. Interesting, communications is good here because there was so little before. People are very focused on it. And we had a innovative new oscilloscope. And I thought, yeah, this is... Now, of course, there were about, a couple hundred entrepreneurs that applied to be on the show. So these were the top 4. But they were good.
They were
so
very
I
good.
was really
very good,
pleased.
Hawaii. Let's go.
Yeah, way to go, Hawaii. And also, I gotta say, the Hawaiian audience was the best we've ever had. You are so kind. Everybody here is so kind. This aloha spirit, I get it. I can aspire to achieve it.
Tim threw us a curveball on the show yesterday. So the two other judges, Mark Benioff and myself, chose the same company, and you chose somebody different. So give us some of your thoughts behind that. Are we allowed to say that? Are we under NDA? No. I think it's public. You guys were all there yesterday.
I don't know. I never sign NDAs.
Okay. I'm like, wait, are we blowing the conclusion of the show?
Oh, that's right. Who cares?
Okay.
They chose one very good company.
Olelo Intelligence.
And I got the feeling that Alola Intelligence, I don't know what the crystal ball was thinking, but I know that the spirits were saying that that one of our judges was somewhat biased. And the other judge spent his entire life selling to small and medium-sized businesses. And I thought, well, there is a point of view that comes in this, and the entrepreneur we chose really had this fire. And I saw a fire in him or her.
We're not naming names, but she is here.
That fire was something I look for in an entrepreneur, and I thought that trumped. Sorry, the crystal ball thought that trumped everything.
All right. Well, since
small slip up there, just ignore that.
Don't say anything. Since you have a crystal ball.
But thank you for bringing that up. It was good. I wanted to clear that up. I know that some people were very upset. They said, well, why'd you even have guest judges if you were going to go a different way?
I was just happy that Mark Benioff had the same opinion as me. That was enough for me. I was like, sweet, we're on the same page at least. So, since you have a crystal ball, what do you see? Let's just take it real near term, next 2-3 years. What are you excited about investing in?
Oh, okay. Well, here's what we tell our limited partners, and this is why they don't like to invest with me. They don't know what they're getting.
I'm pretty sure they do like to. Pretty good track record.
Well, it's our favorite category. They try to put us into, buckets. Our favorite category is other.
That's where you are.
That's where I'm looking.
Very,
I'm looking at other.
I think it's appropriate for you in general.
But if you picked a few industries that I get very excited about right now, it's usually industries that are providing bad service at a high cost with the existing system, and an entrepreneur that's coming in with new technology to change those. So big banking, Bitcoin. So everything around Bitcoin is changing the nature of all finance, all commerce, all whatever. You can collect your taxes without tax agents. You don't have to have IRS agents running around. It's just on the blockchain, done, boom.
Wait, did you make any money with Bitcoin? I didn't know that. You're kidding.
I haven't actually made any money with Bitcoin. I say, I've made any dollars with Bitcoin. It's just my Bitcoin continues to grow in value.
But you're a big believer, and we're a believer from the beginning.
And will continue to be. Because the blockchain keeps perfect records, so I don't need an account. If I did my business all in Bitcoin, I'd raise the money in Bitcoin, invest in Bitcoin, have all my entrepreneurs pay their employees and suppliers in Bitcoin. I'd have it all on the blockchain. I wouldn't need the accountant, the auditor, the bookkeeper, the tax agent, the lawyer, the bum. And it's automatic, all boom, done. So the friction goes away, very much the way the friction went away when we went from trading gold to the promises of gold, or trading the promises of gold for the promise of a government. Okay, so that's one area. Another area that I'm very excited about is taking robots and applying AI to them. And these are not humanoid robots, because I think that lacks imagination. I think they should be robots with like thousands of arms, flipping burgers, doing whatever they do, and getting better at it because they're using LLMs. They're no longer just expert systems. So that's very exciting. Another area that's really exciting is, and this is another industry that is providing really bad service at a high price. People say, well, no, it isn't. And I say, yes, it is, because we are living shorter lives and paying more money to our drug companies. And so big pharma is providing bad service at a high cost. So I am looking at all these new companies that are doing, instead of, big pharma loves the model, which is, it's chemotherapies. And so what we're looking for now are bio-cures. So you can actually do interesting things with your DNA, with your cell structure, with whatever change, they can create bags of body parts for you, or whatever. All sorts of interesting things can happen, and they are going to make healthcare a lot better and a lot cheaper, and we're going to live longer lives. So that's very exciting. And another area that I'm very excited about, but I haven't quite nailed it yet, is government provides bad service at a high cost because they operate as monopolies wherever they are, and taxes are high, and you don't get that kind of service where you feel good about it the way you do with other industries. And so I'm looking, I'm very active in supporting decentralized organizations, the DAOs, these little countries within. If you go 11 miles offshore, you can create a new country. Go up into space, you can create a new country. It can be a virtual country. Most of what government does is virtual, so that's kind of exciting. So that's another area where I kind of get excited, and I think, yeah, government provides bad service at a high price. We need new technologies, AI, whatever, Bitcoin, there's so many new technologies are coming. And we can clear government. Most of what government does is an insurance policy and a bureaucracy. And the bureaucracy can be replaced by AI, mostly. And the insurance policy can all be done in the cloud. And so think of what government does that is not insurance-based, and then you can, that's where, we need the government. Outside of that, we don't need a 1,000 people, you know. And here's the thing, governments reject change like crazy. We have had amazing experiments in Estonia, and Palau, and wherever else, where they have virtual governments, they have digital IDs, and they have all this stuff. You know, you can vote with your phone, you can do all these things. And our government somehow is resisting that all over. And it's because they're trying to cling to power when they are becoming less relevant. And that is a dangerous thing, because now look what's happening around the world. They're all sort of going, I am relevant, I'm gonna fight these guys. So anyway, government's another one. And then this category I call other, which is, you see an industry, education, boy, education could easily be completely transformed by AI. And no entrepreneur that I have seen has really nailed it. There are a few that have challenged it. But I know that the best professors are welcoming AI and incorporating it into their curriculum. And the worst professors are the ones who are going, no, we're not going to change anything. And you, students, can't use AI, ever. Don't even think about it. We're going to catch you. We're going to send you to probation, something I've been on
even though they're using it
times.
Themselves.
Yeah.
That's the irony of it, right? They used it all day to create the lesson plan.
To create the lesson plan.
To create the homework, but no, you're not allowed to use it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
huge changes in education. People are going to have to start thinking in new ways. I mean, when you use AI, you're thinking in a new way, right? It's not the way you used to think. It's now this new thing where you go. In fact, you talked about, hey, let's fact check something when these two were up here, and I was thinking, I kind of went to my phone thinking, well, I should fact check it on, ChatGPT, or I use Grok. I kind of believe in the truth more than the, you don't have to couch it with me. You don't have to be woke with me. You can tell me what it is as it is. I can take it.
Well, that truth is debatable, but we could talk about that all day. All right.
I can take it.
Next question. So.
Actually, I talked to Sam Altman about this. I said, Sam, ChatGPT 3 was fabulous. It was extraordinary. I would push in these questions, and I'd come out with this extraordinary answer. And it would be, and I'd think, oh my gosh, there's the real solid truth. And then I said, and then ChatGPT 4 came out, and I said, it feels like it's been written by lawyers. And Sam looked at me and he goes, we're going to have a slider for that. And it was like, woke to truth.
Or the sycophantic. That really gets annoying too. Like, please don't kiss my ass. My husband's always like, oh, I put in this idea and he said it was a great idea. I'm like, that's what they're trying to tell you. That doesn't mean anything. All right, so for the entrepreneurs in the room and the founders in the room, what advice do you have for them? How do they pitch you? How do they get your attention? What's interesting to you from a founder kind of DNA perspective? What do you look for?
Well, they need to do something interesting. It's a little less about the pitch, because we get, with an entrepreneur, if I get the first pitch, it's like they go so deep into their hole that I have no idea what they're really talking about. Or I get the 50th pitch where everything's just perfect and it says it exactly right. But what I'm really after is trying to figure out, what do you do? Why are you doing it? How big's the opportunity? And then, is that a world I want to live in? And I kind of go through those steps, and I ask and you saw some of them, I ask kind of pointed questions to get to that world for me, where it's like, why are you doing this? God, you're going to dedicate your life to this? And I tend to ask it a little bit that way. So it's like, what are you doing? Because if it's if it's not a true entrepreneur, they kind of back away. Well, George thought it was a good idea. And I don't know whether I feel, you know, or I heard it was a good time to be an entrepreneur, or I need to, you know, I want to make money, or I want to make you money, sort of the clever ones. It's like, I want to make you money. And
that always works for me. Yeah. Let's do that. That sounds good. Let's make me some money.
But the true entrepreneur, when you ask that question, it comes out of the chest. It's like, because I talked to my boss and he didn't understand it, and the customers all wanted this, and he wasn't providing it, and I tried 3 or 4 different people inside my organization, and I have to do this. And it's like, I can't stop myself from doing this. When we asked Elon, one of my Draper University, I don't know, accelerants, I don't know what we call them. We used to call them students, but then California came after us because it was an education institution or something. So one of my accelerants asked Elon Musk, hey, what would you recommend to somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur? And Elon was just about to launch the S-car. He had the governor there. He was just exhausted. He was sweating, you know, smelled a little. It was just like huge. And he looks down at her and he goes, don't do it.
Goodness. No, go do it, please.
So that's actually a good message to an entrepreneur, because if Elon tells you don't do it, then if you're a true entrepreneur, you're going to do it anyway.
You got to do it.
And if you're not, maybe then she can go off and do something else.
But I guess what you're hearing is that you don't have to climb into a waterfall to pitch you, but it helps, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good way to pitch me. We at Draper University, we have survival training, and we have this ice bath, and for some reason I have high pain tolerance.
That's why you were so comfortable in that water yesterday. I jumped in, I was like, holy shit, Tim, it's freezing in here. And he's just like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, no, but I can take whatever, cold water or pain or whatever it is. Thank you, Mom.
Inflicting a lot of pain.
No, she could do it too. It's the genes. Thank you, Mom, for the genes, not for the pain. So we have this thing in survival now. It's the ice bath, and you know, my friend is shoveling ice into the thing, and it's trying to keep it under 40 degrees. And I'm in there just comfortable as can be. And I say, okay, come on into my office. I think you'll enjoy this. Come into my office, and you know, 3 at a time, and each of you pitch. And I say, you got to at least, you know, give it an elevator pitch, a minute or 2, and then I start asking questions, but I do it in sort of like a very slow way. And I'm just watching as they're going, get me out of here! I gotta get out of here!
Wow.
Anyway. You know,
tough.
Draper University, it's really...
That sounds
really,
harder.
We're really cold and cruel.
That sounds tougher than the waterfall, I'll be honest. That sounds really tough.
Oh yeah, the waterfall was beautiful.
It was.
My God, Hawaii.
I know,
you
we're
guys
spoiled.
Have it
we're
here.
spoiled.
I know, and that's what...
Yeah.
I have a resistance. You got to the inner me here.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's
you
what we
found
do.
that resistance to being that spoiled person.
You can always get on a plane and go have it hard wherever you want to go have it hard, and then come back here and enjoy your life.
I mean, I spent 3 or 4 weeks in India shooting a Meet the Drapers season, whole season in India.
Yeah.
And that was a little different, you know, that's a little tougher environment.
Yeah.
I come here and I'm thinking, this is great. I took a swim in the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh, great story. I don't think this matters to anybody but me. But here's the story. The last time I swam at Waikiki Beach, I was 20 years old, and I was trying to learn to surf. And I kind of got up and fell. And I'm on my board, just sitting on the thing, and these 2 women come sailing across, and it's two of the three Charlie's Angels. And I looked at her and went, oh my God, this is my greatest moment ever. And I said, I love you, Kate. And she said, I love you too, call me. And then, where are you staying? And she's drifting away in the sailboat. Never quite got back in touch. But anyway, that was it was a fleeting moment. I took it like an entrepreneur. I took my moment, but it didn't work out. Like most entrepreneurial ventures, you have to keep trying. So
well, what I'm hearing though is Hawaii's been good to you, and will continue to be good to you. So come back, please, everyone.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
For Tim Draper.
So I wanted to let you know that I know we have a break schedule, but we're running really behind schedule, so we're just gonna go to the next thing. So if you need to go to the potty, make yourself wait, but come back because we're going straight into the next panel. And I am so excited to introduce my next panelist. So this is the intersection of entertainment and AI. And my dear friend Holly Liu is here from the Bay Area, and she's leading a discussion with three incredible panelists who are shaping the future of storytelling, gaming, and creative technology. Holly Liu co-founded Kabam, mobile gaming company, and I've known her for many years in the gaming industry. She was named one of Fortune's 10 most powerful women in gaming, and she's now the co-founder of Wen, which is a curated group of creative founders, people in tech, and we've got a nice little group that's visiting here from Wen today, so shout out to my fellow Wen members. And without further ado, I'd like to invite Holly to stage. Come on up, Holly.
Hi everybody, welcome. I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Maya, for that lovely introduction, as well as thank you all for being out here. Even though it's raining, it's been wonderful, wonderful weather. I'm so excited to be talking about the intersection of entertainment and AI. We have three powerhouse women here talking about just how the impact of AI has affected their sector. So I'm going to use a little bit of some notes just to be able to make sure I don't lose anything. So I'm going to introduce Abigail first. She is a New York Times best-selling author of multiple novels for young people, including Love Boat Taipei, which has been adapted to a movie called Love in Taipei, which is now on Netflix internationally. And she just came out with The Veil, which is follows an inventor family that builds an AI-generated virtual world. With that, she had directed her first short film starring a 3-time Tony Award winner, Lea Salonga, and she serves on the board of Harvard Wood and is a member of Dan Lin's Right Back Rise Circle. So if you don't mind waving, that's Abigail. She also has a table out there where you can buy her books and she'll sign them as well. So please go and visit. And as well, The Veil has also become a New York Times bestseller, so I don't want to leave that one out. Next to her is Dan Dan. So Dan Dan is founder and previous CEO of Pop Shop Live, which was a live commerce platform that's backed by Benchmark and cultural leaders. Benchmark is a VC firm that is incredibly selective and only does about 5 a year. So that is just so amazing that they've invested in Pop Shop Live. And Pop Shop Live was acquired in 2023 and has expanded, she's still there, and has expanded to allow creators to monetize so many things, their time, access, as well as merchandise. She also continues to advise a select group of companies in the cultural and consumer space. So if you don't mind waving, so everyone knows. Thanks, Dan. And then finally, we have Jeannie next to her. She was previously the SVP of Smart News, which provided people with high quality, trustworthy news. And prior to that, she was the Chief Product Officer at Smule, where she built a worldwide community of singers. And today, she is now working on a startup in trusted news, so she's gone back to news. So thank you and welcome. So I'm gonna come and join you ladies so we can open up just some conversation around AI and what you guys are seeing in your space. So the first one is really around the production and how AI has really enabled the cost of content production to trend to almost zero. And from your point of view, does this lower the barrier of entry to create kind of this, open up this golden age of creativity, or will it open up a lot more slop and make it harder to find quality? So would love to hear from your perspectives and your worlds, just how has that impacted? Maybe we start going this way, that's okay.
Hi, thank you all for being here. I'm so glad I can be here. I was actually vacationing in Kauai with my family, so I was able to just pop over and be here for the day. So, I worked in artificial intelligence and venture capital for 15 years while I was simultaneously writing novels. This is before Lobotype broke out. And so I kind of came from that world, and that's why I wrote The Veil. I wrote it in 2015. It was too early to publish because no one knew what AI generation was, but I was thrilled to publish it last year in 2025, 10 years later. And I think for AI, what I often tell people in these talks is, I think of it as like the iPhone to the portrait painter. So I clerked for Judge Rogers on the DC Circuit, and I remember going to her amazing portrait hanging ceremony. It's a thing for judges. When I think she was elevated to another court, and so the lower court, they painted her portrait. And the portrait painter was the same person who painted the Clintons' portrait in the White House, because there's just not that many portrait painters anymore. But what we have today is everyone has an iPhone. And with your iPhone, everyone is a portrait painter and is able to capture the world the way they see it and share that with their friends and their family, and then go on, and some people go on to do professional work with that. And so that's what I think of AI and the sea change that we're seeing in the creative space too. We will still have traditional portrait painters. We will still have traditional authors and filmmakers, but there is a lot of people who maybe that wasn't their skill. They will be able to share their ideas and the way they look at the world too. And I think that can only be a good thing.
So your view is there's room for everybody. The pie just gets bigger.
The pie gets bigger, it shifts into different things. And then for me as an author, it's actually it's very empowering for me as the creator of IP. I saw a podcast article, the future belongs to the writer-producer, and that's because of artificial intelligence. It used to be, as a writer, you were beholden to Hollywood to do all your production work for you, but with the power of AI, I can do a lot more of my own producing, and that's given me a lot more autonomy over my stories.
That's awesome. Thanks so much. Now, Dan, for you work with creators a lot. Have you seen this impact of, now that with AI, lots of things can trend towards zero in their production costs? What have you seen in your world?
I was speaking mostly from the video and live streaming angle. So first started with live streaming because the primary format of media that we started on our platform is live streaming. I would say live streaming is probably one of the last format to be colonized by AI because the charm of live streaming is authenticity and trust. And I think eventually AI, with the consistency or with the production, it potentially can get there. But this is a question that I constantly ask in the last few years. And also, as many of you know, like China is very ahead with the live streaming application, adoption, and also technology. So what I'm hearing from that is that, like, for short form video or video, it makes sense to do AI. Or digital avatar. But live streaming is interesting in a way that, like, it doesn't make as much sense because of the cost, and also, like, it's harder to recreate that authenticity and trust compared to human. But at the same time, I think eventually we get there, but I don't know in this format if it makes sense. But for my first-hand experience, during a lot of not a lot, but some of the jam session. Have you guys heard about this word? Like generated jamming in like LA that with a lot of people with content creation background, and they come together using AI to do some jamming, and like seeing that firsthand, using AI to producing different kinds of content like short form movie, music video, and it really blew my mind. Like I'm seeing a lot of people that once have the creative vision. They might be YouTuber, but now they can be a music video creative director. They can be creating a game. So it's really empowering for people who have a creative vision, and now they can expand their productivity or production in so many different formats. And I think that's very exciting.
So it seems like in your world, it augments the current creators to give them like superpowers and just make whatever they're doing better with quality and expansion.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing. Well, Jeannie, I'm very curious because with production quality dropping, there is, especially with news, there's just sometimes misinformation because the quality is so cheap to create. Like how do you see it impacting like truth, authenticity, and all of those things with the production costs dropping to zero?
Yeah, I started as Smil building a user-generated content community. I don't know if you all remember, back then it was all about getting users to generate content and creating that authentic content because it's from users. And Smil was a community that connected people to sing across the world together to create original duets, original group songs using their own voice. And so it's really interesting to think about now with AI content. Does that make that easier? What happens? And I think what happens is that the rise of the curators will actually be a more interesting factor. What we're seeing a lot now is creators to consumer. But you don't see the intermediaries, the mavens, the connectors that actually connect the creative content, original content to the consumer, because we've been relying on the social media algorithms to actually show us the feed, show us that content. But their goal isn't necessarily to bring you quality content. Their goal is to maximize for time spent, maximize for revenue spent. So I think you can imagine, like with so much content out there, even with news, finding that quality content, finding that real authentic content is actually going to be really valuable. And it isn't necessarily about the creation of the content that's valuable, it's about who's able to, which system could curate and select that quality to actually surface and expand new original content to you to see. So I think it becomes a curator to curator to consumer in that sense. And that curator could be human, could be system form, but I think a lot of the system will have to identify not just the original creators, but who is the curator, who is the one that's able to identify that quality talent, what exactly is that signal besides simply just an engagement, a like and share that passes on, and actually be able to identify those people. Yeah, so I think the rise of the curators will actually be even more important to help everybody discover.
So this shift will actually create a new role with curator. Do you think that would be human or AI? Or
I think it'll be both. I think that it will be, human will have to be enabled or augmented by the AI, but ultimately I think it's still that human signal that we have to find. And I think one of the biggest ways that Smil grew wasn't actually through all the singers that were like amazing voices, that was amazing, but it was through this middle layer of people who formed communities, connected with each other, just so passionate. And they were like, oh, you gotta listen to that singer, they're so awesome. And they were the one that's like welcoming new people. And I think elevating that, and I think you'll start to see that across all the industries. Even with news, it's not just about the original publication anymore. You're seeing about people who are able to interpret the news, to explain it in a way that people will trust. And in a way, they're creating, but they're also curating. And so you have to build that behind that.
Well, that's a great segue into asking a lot about the trust shift and what do we trust and how do we monetize in this world. So there's a line between, as you're talking about, human-made and AI generation, it blurs. Does the source of entertainment still matter to the consumer, or do they only care about how it makes me feel? We've definitely, I think there's probably a ton of discussion around that. And then also, if you guys can talk about how do you monetize this feeling in this AI world. So I guess we'll start it this way.
So the first question again.
The first question is really, does it matter to the consumer if they kind of know what the source of entertainment is. So it kind of is the question of, do people want to know that this is AI generated or not? Or are they just going to be like, hey, I don't care?
Right. No, it's a really big question. Actually, I'd be curious. Like, we should take a poll.
Oh,
or
that's
something.
a great idea.
Like, who cares? Like, who does it matter to you whether it's AI generated or human generated? Like, raise your hand if it matters to you. Yeah. So for a lot of you, yes, that's really interesting. So it's actually a big debate right now in the industry. People are just like, the corporations are trying to figure out, like, do we put a watermark or not, so that we let people know this is AI generated. I think I care. With art, there's two parts to it. There's the art itself, and then there's the human response to it. And even with a book, like, you never want to, as an author, I never want to give my reader like the exact spoon-fed answer. I want to give them 1 + 1 so they can figure out 2. And so you bring your own soul to the work as the consumer of art. And so I think we can look at AI art and read meaning into it, even if it's not, even if the creator of this AI doesn't have that soul themselves. But I think because we just saw that it does matter to so many people. I can see a world where there's just people who are interested in, like, exploring we see it already. There's AI film festivals and people who are writing AI generated books, and there's probably going to be a market for that. But then there's always going to be people who want the authentic human created experience.
What about you, Dan? Do you have any thoughts around if the audience for the creators want to know if they've been empowered by AI or what pieces have been AI generated? Do you think their audience cares, or what have you been seeing there?
I think this is gonna evolve over time. I think right now people wanted to know, but in the future, I don't know, like, how big is that distinguish. But at this point, as far as I'm seeing the AI generated content, I think that it still matters, like, the person behind it that generate the prompt, the scripts, the art direction, and I'm seeing, like, pretty huge difference on the outcome. So at the end, like, you can still see the mind, the heart, the soul behind the output. And I remember recently I listened to, like, some panel or talk, and someone talked about, like, early days, the pushback on VFX. So I feel like for some of the content format, AI is a different tool other than early day VFX, and it still matters, like, who is the director, who's the producer, who's the art director. But at the same time, like, right now, I feel like this is such a fast-growing time for AI-generated content. So I'm also, like, excited to see, because I think we largely represent our generation, but I do think that it's almost like we grew up with the internet. Like, right now, all of our life is on internet, and it wouldn't be a debate anymore. But I'm curious about, for the next generation who grew up with AI, does this still matter for them? So I feel like we're not necessarily the best people to answer that question. It will be the people who were born using AI. I mean, probably a lot of, when I went to Asia, I'm seeing a lot of kids, like, they talk to AI every day. So I think they are the equivalent of, we grew up with internet since since we were a kid.
Well, that's a very good distinction, excuse me, on the context of if you've had it versus not, and we're all in a different stage. Jeannie, for you, as you see the trust shift, is there anything else you would want to add on if people do care, maybe they want to care about if it's an AI curator versus not?
I think caring, I look at it a different way. I don't know if people will care or not, but I think it's going to be really critically important for people to know whether it was a human behind it, it was AI behind it, it was human plus AI, how the content was produced, because it's all about trust. And I think when they know and understand where, how, where it's produced, then they're free, I think, to feel whatever the content is trying to make them to feel, or whatever they have to believe, right? Because Okay, I remember when I discovered reality shows weren't actually real. And they're actually called cast members. I felt foolish. I invested a whole season and I felt fooled. And I felt like, oh my gosh, why did... But I think that's the same thing. People don't want to be fooled. And you want to know if it's AI generated content, because what if you did feel and care about it and you find out later, oh, it was fake. But the thing is, it's not fake, because AI generated got you to feel. If you knew it, and you have the freedom to decide how you want to feel about it. I still watch reality shows, but now I have a different kind of emotional investment understanding about it. So I think it's really all about trust. And sometimes the analogy I have, I don't know if this will work or not, but like in the art world, right? You have a Picasso painting. There's one, it's original, you can enjoy it. But there's tons of prints of that painting that people buy and hang it up in their homes, and they enjoy it just as much. And they know it's a print, they know it's not original, but they're able to enjoy it because it's honest about what it is. It's honest that it's a print, it's not trying to lie to you and say it's original content or anything like that. So you're free to enjoy it because you understand that provenance, that source attribution. And so, and you trust it. And so I think this is critically important in news, regardless of what people believe or not, but critically believing that the attribution, the validation, the source, you could believe that. I think that's the only way for people to start accepting truth that they may or may not want to believe, because there is, they could trust that. Otherwise, nowadays, everybody see a video, they immediately just say, oh, that's fake, or that's AI generated. But that doesn't mean that the content itself is like that. So I think
yes,
they trust.
In nonfiction, it's incredibly important with news.
It's like news, no, but cat video, yes.
That's right.
That's like the overall feedback on the internet right now about AI generated content.
I'm super curious, particularly Dan, if you've seen any types of monetization opportunities with the rise of AI. Have you seen it shift or not, or curious?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that I'm seeing is that production no longer be the bottleneck for the value chain or monetization. It's really about the distribution. So there are people, especially creators, who have a platform. They have right now suddenly so many multiple ways to monetize. They can create their AI generated music album. They can create feature movie with them, and they also can create a digital twin that can either broadcast or do all kinds of content or story. So I think that's what I'm seeing with the future with creator and monetization, is the bottleneck will come down to the distribution instead of production.
They can basically become their own brand and really augment into everything. I'm curious, Abigail and Jeannie, from your world, are you seeing different ways of monetizing? Actually, you're probably living this right now because you were able to build a Roblox game from the Veil.
I don't know if I would attribute that to AI yet. It's definitely Roblox, but yeah, we did have a game. I had some amazing Harvard interns that built it for free for school credit, and it's now hit 170,000 plays on Roblox. So we are trying to build it into a survival builder, again, an idle survival game. And I think the next step after that would be an AI, like a vibe coding type thing, where people can create their own veils. And so I guess in that sense, we'll be leaning into it. And that is the story of the Veil, this book itself. So we're figuring out the business case now.
And then Jeannie, I don't know in terms of news or music or any user-generated. It's interesting because OpenAI has been kind of ended up doubling down on advertising in your search results or your chat results. I'm curious if you see anything that could be different.
I think that's the billion-dollar question about Anthropic, OpenAI. But what's happened is the development cost has gone down extremely low, as you say, but not just in content, but in producing code. That means your time to iterate, like we used to talk about rapid prototyping in software engineering, and now it's like, I don't know, light speed prototyping, like there's not even. And so with that, I think that cost has gone down. So maybe it's not monetizing yet, but it's reducing that capital cost, it's reducing your time, which is money, in order to find your audience, in order to find your product. But on the other hand, I think there's a hidden cost that people haven't totally understood yet, is once you release that AI product, it is costing you as well to generate, to use those tokens, use the inference cost. And how is that cost being passed to the consumers? How you want it? That's actually something that, as a startup, we think a lot about. Like, how much is our AI cost going to be? Like, do I want to give you the best response, but that's going to take a lot of tokens, and that's going to cost me more? Like, how can I get you the best response, but still the most optimized token cost? And so I think a lot of the thoughts are being put into that, and whether that margins will work out is the question.
Yeah, still yet to be told. All right, I think I'll do the last question for you guys. And of course, this is a great way to opine, but we have a lot of founders and VCs in the room who are building outside of Silicon Valley bubble. And it is a little bit of a bubble. Where do you think the moat is in this intersection of entertainment, tech, and AI? And what can a founder or VC do that's outside of Silicon Valley be able to leverage this?
This one's sort of easy for me since that's been my whole career. Build your community. Like, seriously, right now, go talk to your users or show up for them, connect to them, but not just connect to them. I think find ways for your users to connect to each other. Like, somehow they both identify and through that create identity with your product, your service, your platform, whatever it is, because that's going to be more and more important, more and more authentic. So it's all about finding your golden cohort, your loyal users, and how do you engage with them? How do you involve them in your growth? How do you make them care? Because they will become your evangelists. They will be the ones that will actually be the best brand ambassadors for you and going through that. And I believe myself, and this is how we said about Smule, we said if we could make one person connect and change a life, that would be so meaningful for us than tens of millions that just listen. And so I think if you have 100,000 users who are active, who are engaged, that is so much more valuable than getting 1 million views, but that engagement just kind of dies off. They're not really, doing retention or providing more value for you, because with that 100,000 users, you could grow, you could sustain that, and that could actually expand in a real way.
Go ahead, Dan.
So I do think that at this moment, community matters a lot, especially for anyone that with a creative background. So it's from a different angle. If you wanted to try something in AI, I still think that it's important to seek out, for example, when I say people who are already playing with it, or go to a Gen Jam session. I'm also planning to do some of that in LA with some friends. So I'm gonna share some what I'm seeing that a lot of you guys here are probably not necessarily full-time content creator, but I'm gonna share a little bit what I'm seeing that what you can use AI to do. For example, with Suno, right now you can easily sample something and also turn your story into lyrics and turn into a song and pick and generate multiple different voice as the singing voice, that you can pick something like a voice that resonates with you, and you can create a song from could be a sample of me talking on this conference right now with your live. Almost like a Fred Again track. That's easily you can turn into a producer DJ. And also I also have seen you can use a 1-line or 2-line of prompt that you can create a whole interactive world. It's almost like a game that you can have a mission to play. I remember I created a game that you start with a world, for example, an all blue world with in the desert, and your task is gonna find a rose in so many different wildflowers, and so basically you can create those worlds that you can only dream about with a few lines of prompt, and also if you want to create a movie, or maybe let's start with music video, and if you are mostly currently someone love movie, someone love music video, and you have a certain direction, I love the art direction of Blade Runner, I like Wong Kar-wai, and you can turn that into hey, I want to build this world in this specific art direction with this storyline, and you can easily build something like that. This is like a golden age of people who are not creative trained. So it's a very exciting time, like what you can build with just your mind and your life experience and your imagination, your dream. So I think it will be interesting that that when humanity spend more time with connecting to your inner self, your creativity, the fire, the imagination in you, like there's so much you can create for, put out to the world.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that the moat for me is my IP. It's the story worlds that I create. And I think that's true for all of you. There are things that you uniquely bring to the world, and that is the thing that can't be replaced by artificial intelligence. And even if talking about all these tools you're using and the ways you can borrow from different aspects, cinematography and story and style and mood, it's still you that's curating and putting that together in the way that only you see it. And I think that's the moat.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. If I could just quickly sum up some of the things that we've learned today is with the production costs, it seems like dropping to zero, it seems like trust is the most important thing here. So it seems like some people care, but also depending on where you are in this world, community and curation seems to be something that just cannot be replaced and will be very important in many, many ways, as well as there's probably opportunities for monetization shifts. Now creators can become these big powerhouses that can create their own things. So thank you so much for enlightening all of us. Abigail's going to be outside with her book. Dan is actually going to be at VidCon with her company, right? Yes. Okay, so you can catch her at VidCon as well. And we'll see you guys all around. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ladies, for that amazing panel. I hope you guys are hanging in there. We've got one more, oh my gosh, most exciting panel because I'm moderating it. So, staying in a world of storytelling, our next conversation features the team behind one of the most talked about series, Chief of War on Apple TV. Oh my gosh, how many of you have watched Chief of War? So good. I was just having a conversation with and I'm like, I had to watch the show this week so I can be fresh off my memories, and everything I see is Chief of War for me. So seeing the mountains, mountains, I'm like, oh my gosh, Kayana, Chief of War.